Hi, welcome to the Bucs Report.
Hey everybody, how you doing tonight? Welcome to the first episode of the Bucs Report Show. Welcome. How's everybody doing tonight? Glad to see you here on the debut episode. This is gonna be fun. We've got a lot to cover. So much to cover. We've got AB. We're gonna talk about the draft. We're going to talk about the quarterback situation. We've got running backs to talk about, and lots of other good stuff. And we have guests galore lined up. It's going to be a lot of fun. Let me tell you something. This show is a little bit different. For those of you who know me, know that some of the shows tend to get a little crazy. We're gonna rein it in on Monday and Friday nights at 9:00. We are going to. We're gonna have some serious Bucs talk and have a really good time doing it. Now, as you know, on my other shows, we have the merry band of miscreants that get a little crazy and everything. Well, it's going to be a little different here, guys. We are going to have the group of people commenting and everything. You guys, you know, pirates have parrots. Well, you are the parrot army. All right, you guys do. And there's a reason we're calling you guys the parrot army, and that is because a group of parrots together is called, and I love this, I just love this, a group of parrots is called a pandemonium. It seems pretty much appropriate. Let's have some fun here, guys. Let's have a good time. I want to hear from all of you, and we're gonna have a separate time where we actually take time for you guys to call in and interact, and it's all about you at that point. And I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be something special. This is going to be something different. We're going to grow. We're going to stumble. We're going to achieve. We're going to go it's going to be a different experience. And I'm looking forward to this. So let's see how this all plays out. The very first thing we're going to do, I'm going to bring in here a guest, someone that needs no introduction around these parts. You guys are familiar with him from his show called The Over Under with Harry the Greek. So this is Harry the Greek. Harry, thank you for joining tonight. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, Rick. And I like to start it out with a nice little oppa, you know?
Oppa.
Oppa, there we go. Oppa can mean multiple things in Greek. It can mean you're happy, you're breaking plates, just a plethora of things, as Leo would say.
Upa means whatever you want it to mean.
Yep, whatever it is. It's just excitement. Right. Opa.
Yeah, it's sort of a woohoo. But I am excited about this. There's so much to talk about. Harry, I want to talk about a couple of things. Number one, something that just happened. I mean, I'm talking within 5 minutes of the show going on the air.
Uh-oh.
I took a look in the Bucs Report Gear shop. That's bucsreportgear.shop, and the first Harry the Greek over-under item has popped up. So, and there will be many more that are popping up over the next day or so, so be looking for that. But that is now available. So that's kind of cool, Harry.
What's that? What's that website address? I got to see this.
Okay, bucsreportgear.shop.
Wow, bucsreportgear.shop.
Yep. So that's pretty exciting. I'm happy to say that. I'm also happy to say we were both involved in the first episode of the Bucs Report podcast, which is on Spotify and it's on on Google Podcasts and all the podcasting platforms all over the place. Soon to be on iTunes. It just Apple is slow in getting it approved, but it's there. It's just waiting in the queue for whenever they get that. So
there really are some
iTunes.
seriously exciting things that are happening. I mean, it just happened like overnight.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like 1 minute you're here, and then bam, everything else is coming. It's just,
it may have felt like overnight, but let me tell you something. There's a lot of we'll say blood, sweat, and tears that went into that, and we're looking at it now, and I'm excited about it.
I know you worked extremely hard to get a lot of things up and running. There's been a band of people that have done it, and I know a lot of it's rested on your back. And
well, it's been a lot.
If you guys haven't seen the website yet, you really need to go. Buccaneers, the Bucs Report. You have to go to the new website for all the Buck gear. It's just really good stuff. And now we're having, what do they call them on Spotify?
A podcast. We got the podcast,
really?
Bucs Report podcast. And you can even you could even tell your whatever that home listening device you have is, you can tell it to play it.
Right. It listens every time.
I know it'll do it. It'll do it here too. So you can tell your home listening device to play the latest episode of the Bucs Report podcast, and it will do that. Yep. So I'm pretty excited about all of that. There's so much going on, and it's onward and upward and forward, and I mean, it's life's good, man. Life is good. But I'm excited about changes. I'm excited about growth. I'm excited about new opportunities. I'm excited about, look at me. I'm all dressed up here for you guys, and it's going to be a whole lot of fun. And
we couldn't get the tie on you, could we?
Absolutely not. That is not happening. That is not gonna happen.
Actually, you look comfortable, Rick. It looks good.
I'm comfortable.
Good look on
I'm
you.
comfortable. Yeah, thank you.
Just to let you know, the Tampa Bay Rays won today, 10-5. They are 3-4, and they're only a game under 500. And I wanted to throw that in a Buccaneer report here.
They're a game under 500.
They're a game under 500. What are they? A game out?
Yeah.
I mean, New York's 3-4 as well. I mean,
it's early.
A game out.
It's early. Give it time.
Yeah, tell me about it.
There is so much news to talk about. I'm excited about the news. Let's bring one more guy in here, and I'm really going to kind of limit the number of people on screen at a time. I don't want to go with some of what we've done in the past. How you doing, dude?
Doing great, gentlemen. Hey, I just read the company memo that I'm supposed to behave myself on this show, unlike we do on What's Cooking in the South and live from the Teed seats. But I do want to say great job earlier tonight by Gene Thomas of Buck What You Heard. Shout out to his sponsor. Harry the Greek, great job last night. Joshua Cole Allen, Evan Winter, all the guys at Bucs Report again. Beautiful job. Not to bring the tone down a little bit, want to throw some love and respect out to DMX and his family. Rest in peace, brother.
Did he die, actually, or is he still in a coma?
He officially died today.
Oh, Lord, man.
That's Associated Press. That's from his family. So that all said, but let's show respect, move on. But, dude, this show, that opening, can I just say this? If you're about to watch this show moving forward on Fridays or Monday, is this going to be the same opening on Monday too?
Yeah, it's going to be the same opening on Monday.
If you tune in on Monday or Friday and you have this show hooked to a Bluetooth speaker, please turn it down. I think I just blew one on that opener. Lots of bass, Rick. Look at you dropping the EDM stuff. Hey. I don't want to take up much time. One, because you guys are beautiful. You're in a jacket. It looks like, look, Harry's got a collared shirt on. Hey, Harry, you have sleeves. How about that?
It's fancy here.
I want to reiterate what.
Hey, I'm in the clubhouse, brother.
You're in the clubhouse. I'm in the outhouse. I want to reiterate to everybody that a year ago today, we knew about Tom Brady. We knew about new uniforms. What we didn't know was that the Buccaneers would go on to be the first team to win a Super Bowl in their home stadium. Then re-sign every starter for this season to make another run. I also want to point out, and I think Rick's going to touch on this, lots of stuff, lots of juicy nuggets from that podcast with you guys yesterday.
Yeah.
Down in the comment section, excuse me, down in the comment section, I want to get a thumbs up or thumbs down. Our own YouTube creator, Liam Mitchell, is about to drop in the next week, a highlight hype video, so we all can get behind this and make a push to get former Buccaneer James Wilder inducted into the Ring of Honor. Look for that video on Bucs Report social media pages.
Awesome.
We will tease it on all the shows. Go to Liam Mitchell's YouTube channel, Bucs Archive. I'll put the link on the page. I'll put the link in the comment section. Hey, gentlemen, Rick, Harry, I can't wait to see who's coming up next. Harry has an early appointment at the dog track in the morning, so we can't stay too long.
No. The people from work actually see this. I actually work tomorrow. And then about noon, I'll be at the dog track.
Yeah, there you go.
That's even better. But shout out to both of you for what you guys pulled off this week. That was beautiful. If you haven't checked it out, everybody, go over to the Bucs Report page on Facebook. Go down, scroll over to the right till you see videos. Click videos, and there is all of our shows in sequence. If you're bored, put it on the background. Play it on Facebook Watch on your smart TV. And coming soon, like you said, look for our podcast on iTunes and across the entire spectrum of podcasts.
It's on all the rest of them now. It's pretty much everywhere now other than iTunes. So please subscribe. Become a subscriber to the podcast. That's a big help if you do that, guys. And please listen and share.
Buy some of that merchandise so Rick can buy a tie.
Yeah,
don't worry.
Push it.
I got a couple for him when he comes down in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, that ain't happening.
If I send you a bow tie, will you wear it?
No. I just told you I wasn't going to wear a regular tie. I'm certainly not wearing a bow tie.
Well, I mean, bow tie would go. Anyway, I'll behave. Thank you for giving me the shot to come on here, brother. I appreciate you. I might check in back later if it goes off the rails because that's more my thing. Again, much appreciation, everybody down there in the comment section. Gentlemen, have a wonderful night.
Have a great one. Thank you very much. All right, guys, I am excited about this, and there is some stuff like I'll go ahead and talk about this now. On our podcast, we had the opportunity to speak with Greg Allman from The Athletic, and he wrote a book called Champa Bay. Also, we had the chance to speak with him, and one of the little juicy nuggets, firecrackers that he threw into the mix, is that there is a definite possibility that the Buccaneers are interested in Teddy Bridgewater. Who knows? That previously he was Plan B behind Tom Brady if they were not able to get Brady, and now they may, who knows, be able to get Plan A, Brady, and Plan B. That's nothing. There's nothing sewn up about that. There's nothing official about that. But it's interesting that Greg Allman brought it up in the sense that Greg he's brilliant. He breaks Buccaneers news like it's amazing. He's always breaking insider news. He's the guy who's always, him and Joshua Cole Allen, it seems like, always have the inside scoop. Joshua was in our lobby a moment ago and then disappeared. Hopefully he will be coming back. But there is so much stuff to talk about. And whether it's Bridgewater or not, look, the bottom line, I don't think it's going to be Bridgewater. I think it's going to be Blaine Gabbert coming back. I believe that's the plan. I believe Arians genuinely likes Blaine Gabbert. I believe.
Well, I agree with that. But Rick, seriously, if you can get Bridgewater for $1 million or $1.5 million, and Carolina has to pick up the rest of the bill, why wouldn't you do that?
Well, I agree completely if they can pull that off. So,
well, yeah, then they save so much money, especially they're going to have the cap space left, and they don't have to really restructure that many more contracts other than to get Antonio Brown signed. That would be like the ideal situation.
Absolutely. Harry, I'm going to keep this moving. So tell everybody where your show is.
My show's Wednesday night. It's called The Over and Under with Harry the Greek. I am the host, and I will have probably Mr. Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy sitting on my right from a cup of Ray. It's just great to be doing this on Wednesday nights, and any other night I can kind of squeeze in.
Excellent. Thank you very much. You are awesome. Tomorrow night, maybe we'll see you on What's Cooking in the South if you can pop by, and or Sunday night on Live from the Cheap Seats, or back here Monday. Thank you for for all of this and the great job on the podcast. And
Au revoir, sir.
you got it. Buy the over-under gear, bucksreportgear.shop.
I got to go check that out.
See you later, man.
See you, bud.
All right, let's bring in. I was just talking about the guy who breaks news. The guy who's always breaking news. Oh, look at you, buddy. Awesome. We're all
how we doing, guy? How we doing? We got our bookie over here, the last segment. Now with me and you with these dapper suits, we're gonna get it popping right now.
Bada bing. So I'm excited about all this, man. I am very, very excited about there's so much that's going on, and
Absolutely,
what
absolutely.
Almond talked about, what Greg Almond talked about regarding the possibility of Bridgewater and maybe not. I don't think he's coming. I think it's possible, but I don't think he's coming. You never know. But there's so much other news. There's so much going on. I mean, I've got a list of so many things. Yeah. I am with you.
Hey, we come prepared, don't we?
Yeah. And I want to talk to you about this. I want to talk to you about a question I've got about AB. And I want everybody in the chat section, if you guys would do me a favor, in the chat there, whether you're on YouTube, whether you're on Facebook or Twitter, will you guys reply or respond to this? And with this, just reply to me whether you believe AB is re-signing or not. I want to know whether you think this is happening or happening soon. Let's say within the next couple of weeks, will AB sign? If you could put that in there, I would appreciate it. I want to hear what you guys are thinking. But Joshua, I read today they're about $2 million apart. I don't know if that's true or not. You know how rumors are. But the rumor is $2 million apart, and that $2 million might actually be something that's difficult for them to overcome, the bridge between the two of them. Do you think they'll get this worked out?
I do. I just don't see the market for Antonio Brown right now. I mean, he's actively campaigning on Buccaneers Instagram and Buccaneers Twitter to have them re-sign him. He knows he's got a very limited market, and he knows that if he's going to be able to resurrect his career, he's going to have to go back to the Buccaneers, play with Tom Brady, and bring up his value so he can go in next year when a lot of teams have money and hopefully, keep his nose clean, stay, great on the field as well, and then he can cash in next year. So that's really going to be the thing. The $2 million apart, I can kind of see it. I mean, you see what he got brought in here last year. I think it was like $1.1 million, but it was because he was suspended for the first 8 games. It was prorated, so it was really $500,000, and that's why I think they really made a concentrated effort to get him those incentives that he got last year. But
Right.
if it's $1 million and they're $2 million apart, and he's asking for 3, 4, I mean, I think they'll get it done. There's still a multitude of ways to open up cap space. You have a guy like Ryan Jensen you can extend and restructure. The Cam Brate situation is still up in the air. Are they really going to pay these 3 tight ends almost $20 million? I don't know. Another guy's on the roster too. I don't think. The more I look at it, I think Will Golston will not be asked to take a pay cut. He had one of his most successful seasons last year. But a guy like Bradley Pinion, maybe that's a guy they approach, or maybe there's another candidate out there that I just can't think of that they maybe extend. I mean, O.J. Howard could be one of the guys too that they look to extend. So, I think they'll get it done. I just don't see him going anywhere else.
Right. Now, I don't see him going anywhere else other than if Ego gets involved. But I just feel like this is more. AB's a bit of he likes drama. He likes that sort of thing. And I wonder if this isn't just a little bit of that. A little bit of get people talking. I mean, I don't know. I mean, and it also, to be honest with you, let's talk straight. It could be his marketing team saying, hey, let's get our name in the news. Let's become relevant. Let's become a bigger deal and create demand. I mean, I saw he was listed on the scroll at the bottom of Good Morning Football as they had the list of top free agents, and he was number 56. How does a guy that good become number 56?
Well, we kind of talked about it last night with Greg Allman on the Audible. If you guys didn't tune in, make sure you catch the replay. But, the whole situation that happened in Pittsburgh and then subsequently in Oakland right after that, when everything happened with that situation there. And then kind of moving on to New England, where, in New England, it wasn't really a matter of his play or his antics. It was a matter of him not disclosing that he was about to have a lawsuit dropped on him. And when they signed him, and I think that's why they really moved on from him. But I do think that, there is a market for him perhaps after the draft. And I think it's best for him, if he's trying to maximize his value, to wait until after the draft to see which guys go where, who gets what. But before then, it's pretty much Buccaneers or bust. I know Russ has been saying something, but Russ isn't Lola. Whatever Russell wants, Russell gets. So.
Right. Well, Leroy in the comment section brought up something interesting. He said, if we extend Godwin, wouldn't that save money? I mean,
a boatload.
Right. So doesn't it seem like, I mean, that's something that I think could that makes sense. It sews him up for a few years and saves the cap space. So I don't know, but I think they're what is it already, 31 million or something on wide receivers?
Yeah, and there's 53 million pushed in the future years.
Yeah.
Already,
how much can you actually spend on that position? I mean, that's
yeah, it becomes one of the things where, when you have two guys like this, I think they're going to lock him up. I don't think they'll let Godwin go. But as far as extending and everything like that, yes, you can make his cap hit smaller, but he's going to command a higher salary. So, I mean, he's getting 16 million. You got to think Keenan Allen got 20 million. Mike Evans is making 18. He's going to want at least 18 million. So you're getting him on a $2 million pay break, although it gives you no flexibility with that contract. We'll see what happens, but he's definitely a guy that they could approach maybe after the draft. You never know. There's still quality free agents left out there, including Antonio Brown. And there's still other options for them, too. They still have to address a quarterback position. Whether they do it in the draft or not, I think a backup edge rusher is someone that they need to take a look at, maybe a veteran guy, backup cornerback, veteran guy, a backup linebacker. There's holes that they can fill in the draft.
At what point do you stop going veteran guy? I mean, at what point do you start? I mean, there's got to be somebody young on the team. I mean, this little band of misfits. I mean, what it makes me think of is I always talk about. I think that when I look at on the other shows, on Live from the Cheap Seats and on What's Cooking in the South, we have the miscreants, and I always call them the band it's the land of misfit toys, all of us. And I almost feel like the Bucs are becoming that, where all the people who didn't make it anywhere else, who had to get cut, like the Raiders used to be when you were like a bean sprout. But I mean, it just seems like that's the case. By the way, I want to thank, and Mike Desrochers brought this up, and Mike is correct. I want to thank all the miscreants. You guys brought it hard tonight. You brought it strong tonight. You guys are here, and for that, thank you. Much appreciated.
Absolutely. They always bring it hard.
Yeah.
I mean, I get what you're saying, too, with the whole backup situation, veteran backup. But at this point, you want to infuse young talent to the team, right? But at the same time, if you look at a lot of this roster, especially the entire secondary, Devin White, Vita Vea, they're all young guys. So the problem with bringing in, and it's not necessarily a problem, because if these guys are, especially if they're higher picks on the defensive side at these positions where you could use backups, and they can come in and they can learn and contribute right away, you're in a heck of a good shape. But they're a team that is going for two. They're trying to go back to back right now, and what they really want to do is make sure they have quality depth that they know can step in right away and play and not skip a beat. So that's why I think looking for a veteran cornerback to come in, because right now they're sitting at really three cornerbacks. They have Herb Miller and a couple other guys on these deals, that were future contracts. But you're looking at the big three of Dean, SMB, and Davis. But they haven't re-signed Ross Cockrell, and I'd be very pleased if that's the guy that they brought back. But I still think they need a veteran cornerback, and then maybe you look at the draft in a later round, or Herb Miller is the guy that sticks around. But there's definitely different aspects of this where they need to balance youth and veteran leadership and veteran backups that can come in and step in and not skip a beat, and not have a guy like Anthony Nelson or Herb Miller start playing snaps. So,
yeah, I mean, I think what you're saying, makes sense. I feel like there's so many veterans on this team, and you're pushing the salaries out, and eventually you don't want to get yourself in a situation where like the Saints have done. And I mean, you even don't want to be in a position like the Chiefs, because the Chiefs are losing people. So
And that's where everyone's been talking about the Tom Brady effect comes in. Who
Yeah.
are these veteran older guys who are on their last leg or last ride, and that they could this team and everyone said Belichick got the most out of these guys.
Yeah.
But we've seen Brady elevated everyone on this team. So who are those guys who are looking for a chance to compete for a ring, to compete for the playoffs? Some of these guys maybe never even made the playoffs before, and they might want to come in here and say, hey, let's go. I'm going to take, $1.5, $2 million and not break the bank and on a 1-year deal and let's go.
Is there any scuttlebutt about McCoy coming back?
McCoy, I think, is retiring. I don't think he comes back to this squad. No. If anything, they'll look for another guy if they don't draft somebody, and that's a big thing too.
I'm looking forward to the end of that conversation about McCoy. I am looking forward to the end of that conversation.
There could be guys like a Rex Burkhead, Duke Johnson, Giovanni Bernard.
Right.
They might look to bring in if they don't draft somebody. But if they do draft somebody, and I know people don't like to hear this, but if they draft a Travis Etienne or a Najee Harris or Javonte Williams in that first round, now you have Leonard Fournette, Rojo, and a young, workhorse, all-purpose back.
Yeah.
Well, now your backfield is loaded, and you just signed Leonard Fournette on a 1-year deal. You're probably not going to get rid of them. So there's only really one guy that could potentially be on the move after that. But that's a conversation for a different time.
I accidentally have the accent. I didn't even realize I clicked the sample banner. Sorry about that. And you can please do me a favor. Thank your wife for texting me and telling me get that thing off of there. I didn't realize it was there.
I didn't know what you were doing with it. I was just
I was messing up. That's what I was doing.
Hey, you know what? First show, let's go.
Yeah, a rookie mistake. Anyway, I mean, yeah, Taylor, thank you. But the thing, with Keyshawn Vaughn, I know that from things that I am hearing, and I am not plugged in like you are. Okay, I'm not trying to make myself like I am remotely plugged in like you are. I mean, I know Keyshawn, he changed his number. He was number 30 last year. He's going to be number 21 because the Buccaneers cut Justin Evans. From what I'm hearing, they really do like him. I mean, they genuinely like him. And that Vaughn, you can expect to maybe see a little more of him this year.
Yeah, I mean, when he came in, he had some really glimpses of what we've seen at Vanderbilt. I remember when he was at Vanderbilt, he was running behind one of the worst offensive lines and still going up against SEC competition and putting up solid numbers. So the guy knows how to get it done. The problem with Keyshawn Vaughn is things didn't start right, for him right off the bat. He got COVID, missed the part of training camp. Now, I mean, Bruce will love to tell you so many times how many over 400 reps these guys missed. They missed, and even a report came out today from Schefter saying that, the NFLPA is encouraging these guys to skip these, voluntary mini camps. But for guys like a Keyshawn Vaughn, these guys who get drafted and are brought in as undrafted free agents, like, how are you going to tell them, for a guy like Javon Hagan even, who I had on the show last night, how are you going to tell them, hey, skip this minicamp? Now, if you're Nadam Kasu and, these guys, by all means, skip the minicamp. But
I kind of hope they do, to be honest with you.
Oh, yeah, these older guys, go for the mandatory, but the voluntary, skip them all. But some of these younger guys who need to be around the team, need to be around the system, get the coaches and catch their eye and show them, hey, this is what I've been doing in the offseason.
Isn't that what the massive Bucs coaching staff is all about? Isn't that the point of that? Is so that you can find these diamonds in the rough. And what's funny is, look, the chances of a rookie breaking the starting lineup are pretty low, okay, but they're not impossible. No. And let me tell you something. I had hope that Wirfs was going to be good, but I figured it was going to take a little more time to be what he is. I mean,
you and everyone else.
Winfield, did I think he had the potential to be good? Yeah, but not that good. I mean, it you don't know. So you're going to draft somebody this year or some people this year, and with the development team that the Buccaneers have put together, the coaching staff that they have put together, you don't know what's going to happen. And there's going to be somebody who comes along and surprises. I mean, there are surprises in front of us, guys, and good ones and scary ones. but they're coming. That's football.
Yeah.
So, who knows what we're about to face.
Exactly. It's one of these things where once we see it all play out, it's going to be interesting. I can't wait. I'm ready. I'm ready for the draft to come. I'm ready to get mini camps and OTAs and all this stuff.
Well, it's coming quick.
Not quick enough. I miss football already. It's only been 2.5 months now. I want to hear some pads crack this year. According to Joel Glazer, he thinks training camp is going to be ready to go as normal.
Yeah.
They're pretty much on track to have normalcy.
The whole NFL. Yeah.
Everyone in the stands. So I'm ready to hear some pads crack.
I was not expecting that. Were you? Them to come out with that much optimism. I mean, it's easy to stay quiet. And I mean, they actually stepped out. I mean, that's a little bit of stepping out on a limb, saying what they said.
I mean, with vaccines more readily available, Florida just opened them up to everyone 18 and over.
Same here in Carolina.
So it might. This is the thing where I'm vaccinated. I'm just waiting for my second dose.
That's where I'm at.
But I know a lot of people are nervous, and I know are you going to have to be mandated to have a vaccine to go to some of these large events if they're at full capacity? I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't know if they're just going to let everybody in. And if they do let everybody in and it's a packed house, are people going to be wearing masks? And I don't know what it's going to look like. And I don't think anyone really knows what it's going to look like. So, yes, as for them with this optimism saying, we're packing the stadium again. That's
well, I'm kind of guessing. I'm kind of guessing, but I imagine masks. You're going to see people in masks for a while, and I think you're basically. I think what they're saying is, look, you can get vaccinated or you can take the risk.
Yeah,
and that's where I think people are at. I think
that's what we thought when we were going through it last fall or last August. That's what we were talking about. Is it going to be, are you signing a waiver? Is your ticket automatically a waiver saying you're coming at your own risk to protect them? And I think that's probably what you're going to see.
Yeah, I remember that conversation about all the writing on the back of tickets. And
yes.
Yeah, I remember that whole conversation. And I think we were a year off. but I think that seems to be what we're facing.
And Matt Coulson in there, I think every player will be everyone in the staff will be vaccinated by then.
That's just going to be. Look, they get so many shots, they get poked, prodded.
It's going to be protocol for them to play. If you don't want to play, you can opt out of the season. But that's the protocol.
Right.
You need to get a vaccine to play.
Yeah, I think that's probably.
They're not going to take the chance. They got lucky, last year for the most part. Without huge outbreaks, especially the Bucs. Obviously, Devin White was a big one, and you were biting your nails in that Washington game a little bit. But Rojo also. There were a few others. The whole special teams unit got flagged for close proximity or whatnot, and they had to bring in all these special teams guys in the practice squad. I think that just guards against that. I would like to see them keep the practice squad set up the way it is, because I thought that was really, really
explain.
So the practice squad was set up. It was 12 guys instead of 10 guys. And remember, you could protect 4 of them each week, and then you could activate up to 2 of them to the active roster the day before. I thought, and then they would revert to your roster after the game. I thought that was ingenious. I really like that. I like the fact that you could have veterans on there. Didn't matter how many accrued seasons they had. I think that those things are something that I know Bruce really liked it, Coach Arians. So I think he's going to push for that. But we'll see. The coaches' meetings, owners' meetings are all happening right now. So we'll see what happens. They'll have their second round closer to the season, and we'll see what happens. I know multiple things were brought up with overtime rules and also players being able to wear single digits if you're a running back, wide receiver, linebacker. So we'll see what happens with all that stuff next time they come around. But I really hope they keep the practice squad, because I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I just think expanded rosters. The time's kind of come.
Especially going to 17 games.
I don't understand the advantage or reasoning behind the rosters as they are. I just don't. Or not this year. This year I understand, but the previous years I just don't understand what they were. What the thought process was, other than save some money. But you're talking guys that are going to be making the minimum at that point. I don't know.
Well, I think that's what this practice squad. I think that's why we might see the practice squad stay with the ability to put accrued veterans on there,
Right.
because it saves them money while still giving them a larger roster to
Right.
work with.
I mean,
Because
it doesn't have to be like college. You don't
expand-
have to have 2 number 83s.
No, but if you expand the active roster, let's say you expand the active roster to like it's at 53 guys right now. If you expand it to 60 guys or whatnot, because you're adding an extra game, or 56 or something like that. Now those are another 3 players you have to pay, because the other ones don't count towards the salary cap. You still got to pay them. But if you
Right.
keep it what it is and have a 12-man practice squad,
Right.
now you're talking about having those extra couple guys on the practice squad that you don't have to pay,
Right.
NFL roster money. And
Right.
you can bring them up and drop them down as you want to. So
Well, the Bucs are picking depth, okay, and with the draft, they are picking depth. They are building depth for the most part, with hopefully a surprise in there. But picking last in the first round is not always a bad thing. I mean, there are definite advantages to picking last in the first round. Explain the reasoning teams will go for that pick and how that kind of works itself out.
Oh, absolutely. One of the biggest things about first-round picks is that fifth-year option. Every player in the draft gets, their standard 4-year deal. What happens in the first round is that each of those players get an option to have a 5th year. That 5th year is accumulation of a multitude of things. They just the last CBA. Now they have different tiers of what kind of things. Hall of Fame. Pro Bowls, All Pros. Snaps played, et cetera, to let you know how much you're going to be getting paid on that 5th year option if it's picked up.
Right.
But for teams that are looking to secure a player, especially this year, probably won't happen. But if there's a quarterback there or a player that's, let's say, drops and falls, number 32 is the end of the draft. Everyone goes to sleep. They wake up the next day, get the draft board prepped, and say, okay, is player X and player B are still here? What would it take to move up to get to him? We really like player B. How did player A fall this
Right.
far? Well, instead of doing that, a lot of teams will like to trade up to that number 32 spot. So instead of saying, how can we get up here? They move right in the first round. They grab that
Right.
5th year option on them, and they secure a pick before anybody else. So
Well, I got a question for you about that. Now, Johnny Dean, the professor, posted earlier this week a statistic. He was talking about the number of first-round quarterbacks that are still in the league and how many have been drafted. It's like 5 out of 30 or something crazy. I mean, it's some very, very crazy small percentage that actually are still in the league 5 years later that are drafted in the first round. Quarterbacks.
yeah.
Okay. Now, I'm not even talking. They're not even backups. Okay. These guys that are they look at people, evaluate the talent, and say, yeah, this guy's going to be a starter or a possible franchise quarterback. 5 years later, they're not even in the league. My question, and there are plenty of guys who are later in the draft that do make teams and do stick around and are around, and guys that were development. Something happened somewhere along the lines where they stopped developing quarterbacks. And what I don't understand is this. There's not a track record of guys coming in that are all of a sudden successful immediately. I mean, there are outliers. I think Pat Mahomes came in pretty darn quick.
He sat his whole rookie year, though, pretty much.
Right. And that's the amazing thing is when you stop and think about it, there aren't guys who just come in, but they keep doing it. The coaches keep doing it over and over and over. You throw them to the wolves, and you put them out there, and you don't give them the chance to develop. And it's because of the win now mentality, and because if you don't win after 2 years, let's be honest, if you don't win after 2 years, you're fired as a coach, basically. Maybe if you get a very, very, very just an exceptionally patient owner, then you get an extra year or 2. Okay. Or if you're in Dallas, you get 10. But I mean, in general, you don't get that patience, So I don't know. I mean, it's why do they keep throwing these guys out there? Is it because of what I just said?
It's a combination of it. I mean, you quarterback is obviously the hardest quarterback to hardest position to find in the league, whether it's draft, free agency, whatever you can find. And that's part of the reason too. You see a lot of guys. I mean, look at Sam Darnold. He's been through 3 systems now already. You look at some of these guys. Alex Smith had like 4 offensive coordinators the first couple of years. Josh Rosen, I know you love him. Had multitude of coaches and offensive coordinators. It has to do with not being drafted in the right system. It has to be drafted to a position. If you're drafting a quarterback pretty high, you're usually are a pretty bad team and don't have enough around that said quarterback to allow him to succeed. Impatience from owners, impatience from coaches, impatience from GMs. And now since the whole reconfiguration of what rookies get paid coming in. I mean, you remember what Sam Bradford was making more than half the quarterbacks in the league when he got signed. Right. It was like $78 million on his rookie deal. But now these guys are on such a pay scale that you can take multiple draft picks at quarterbacks higher, and hopefully one of them will stick.
Yeah, everybody. You know what? Everybody post a comment right now. Everybody start naming quarterbacks that when they came out, everybody thought this is going to be the guy. And teams drafted them, and now they're all gone. Start naming those guys because it's going to be amazing the list that you guys will come up with, and how many people there are that are, Marcus Mariota's. Yeah, I said it.
Jameis Winston.
Well, we don't know yet because he's got a shot to crack the starting lineup. I mean, Mariota really doesn't even have that. So, what's funny is you'd take Winston, who in essence failed in Tampa. Now that's debatable, and believe me, people will debate it.
They'll get after you.
Yeah, but he was more successful than Mariota. And that's kind of an odd thing when you think about it.
Didn't Mariota bring him to the playoffs once?
Well, he was. I think he was the quarterback when they went to the playoffs once. Let me be clear about that because I don't think he brought them. But they went to the playoffs. And that's I think it's because of the team around him. And I don't know. But Winston still has a shot at really the starting job. And I think we've seen the last of Mariota. I really do. I think speaking of Josh Rosen, I think Marcus Mariota is kind of going to end up in the same, float around from team to team to team, back up. You're going to say, oh, I remember that name. And, that was a big debate, 1 or 2, who's going.
There's guys who are completely out of the league. You want to talk about Christian Ponders, one of the guys. That whole draft class, Andy Dalton. No, he was a second-round pick. I'm sorry.
Right.
Someone mentioned Tim Tebow. Everyone likes to talk about Ryan Leaf. But there's been a lot of them that have, bounced
around.
Yeah,
Jamarcus Russell. Mike DeRoche just brought up Jamarcus Russell. Yeah. That's a great example of a quarterback that came in and everybody was like, this is going to be the guy. And, where did he go? What happened? There are so many of these guys. Is Sam Darnold done? He's coming to Carolina. I get it. He's going to get another shot. Tell me what your thoughts are on Sam Darnold.
He was in a system with a quarterback killer. If your name's not Peyton Manning, and that's Adam Gase. Obviously, we've seen what Ryan Tannehill's done since then. I think that the lack of weapons, the lack of leadership, the lack of confidence, and offensive line, running back, wide receiver, tight end, you can just name about almost every single position on there. Wasn't a solid player for them. They might have had some guys here and there, but it was never really given a chance. Different coordinators. I think that going down to Carolina with a guy like Matt Rule and Joe Brady, I think that he'll be able to kind of turn it around there. I'm not ruling him out with Matt Rule just yet. You're muted.
Said, yeah, you're punny.
Mitch Trubisky's another guy. You think he gets another chance?
Well, yeah. That's actually a great example. Mitch Trubisky. The list is long. One guy who, what I think is funny is Bridgewater, I think, will get a starting job somewhere else, which is funny because that'll then be his 4th team he'll be starting for. Not just going to. If you're a journeyman quarterback, you're rarely the starter. The Fitzpatrick, who I think, by the way, I don't think gets the respect he should get. Now I'm not a guy who thinks he's the answer to everything. But I think Ryan Fitzpatrick does not get the credit he deserves.
And can I just implore everyone to vote him to a Pro Bowl this year, even if he doesn't deserve it? You need one Pro Bowl to be considered for the Hall of Fame. Let's get that man a Hall of Fame. He's played for half the teams. He deserves there. He deserves to be there.
First guy to literally play for half the NFL.
Brian Hoyer had to try it with the Jets. He's right out. He's right behind him. These two guys, man, they're trying to get to every single team. I don't know who's going to do it first.
Yeah, Carson Wentz. Teresa brought up Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz, Teresa. I don't know if he's a failure at this point. We don't. I mean, he's only been with one team. He certainly had a great. He's had flashes of being good and flashes of being horrible. But I don't know if that's because of him. I don't know. It's the same thing I feel about Sam Darnold. Darnold. I don't know what to think about him. You know, I live here in Charlotte. Sam Darnold coming here is it's a mystery to me. It really is a mystery to me. I look at it and I'm as lost on Sam Darnold as I was the day he got drafted. I'm serious.
We're not even mentioning a guy who was on this team last year, Blaine Gabbert.
Well, no, I brought him up earlier that I think he's coming back here.
No, but he's another guy. You know, former first
drafted
round pick,
10th overall.
Around.
Yeah, drafted 10th overall.
Blaine Gabbert. I mean, you're right. There's a lot of these guys who they had chances. They just never. E.J. Emmanuel, I forgot about that guy.
Yeah, I even forgot the name. Wow, Tim Couch. I mean, there are so many guys who came into the league and then just very quickly were
Johnny
gone.
Manziel is huge. I mean, him and Tebow, those guys are like the big ones, you know.
Yeah, and Tebow, but and we could argue all day long, and I don't want to go down this rabbit hole, but Tim Tebow. I mean, how many times does a quarterback go to the playoffs, lead a team to the playoffs, win a playoff game, and get cut? I mean, it's or just get replaced.
Yeah,
I mean it's bizarre.
Here's a
do you
good
think the
one for
Bucs?
you.
Who's that?
Last one. This is the last one I'm going to be. Brandon Weeden by the Browns was a first round pick. In and out.
Well, who's the other guy? He's on satellite radio now, hosting a radio show. Cleveland quarterback. God, they've had so many. Brady Quinn.
Brady Quinn, yeah, he was another guy. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, though. I mean, especially for the Browns, you just keep throwing darts and hopefully one sticks. And some of these teams, they end up going out and grabbing a guy that they can, get in free agency and try to turn it around that way. But
really, do they do that? Do some teams do that? Really?
But that also takes a good GM to start constructing and drafting well at other positions and bringing in more free agents to make a place like that attractive. Mr. Jason Light.
Yep. No, absolutely. Absolutely. Dan Orlovsky's. Yeah. I mean that.
I think it was a first round pick, but yeah.
I don't remember where he was picked.
No,
and it's funny because those are all just the high first round picks. We're not even mentioning the lower first round picks that there have been. I mean, the Bucs have had a train of them. I mean, it's crazy to think about. But
I used to like Joey Harrington a lot. I love Joey Harrington's game for some reason.
That's a great example. Came out of Oregon. The guy looked like he was all world and just gone. And who was there? There was oh my gosh, Matt
Stafford replaced him.
But who was the guy? Who was the Cardinals quarterback? Came out of USC. Matt Leinart.
Matt Leinart.
Yeah. Matt Leinart. Yeah. That's another one. I mean, there's so many of them. But now I got a question. Well, let me do this. I'm going to break for a commercial. Yeah, I'm going to break for a commercial. And when we come back, we're going to do something a little bit different. It's called It's Your Turn. And that's where all of you guys out there, we're going to open the phone lines up. We're going to open up your ability to come on here and talk to us, and we're going to give you the opportunity to weigh in on one particular question that I want to bring up. And it's something I'm looking forward to talking about, and I mean, there are people that are on both sides of this debate, and I want to talk about it with you guys, so I want you to hop on, either on the phone, which I'll give you the number, or I want you to come on through the StreamYard link, and I'll share that shortly. But that's coming up here in about a minute. It's called It's Your Turn. All right, guys. So what I want to do is I want to open up the phones and the StreamYard to you guys for just a minute or two here, a few minutes, and I want to get your take. So what we're going to do that's different is it's not going to be coming in for long conversations. I'm going to come in and we're going to do some quick hitter, come on for a minute or two, and let's talk really quickly. Give me some reasoning on the question I am about to ask you. It's your turn for you guys to sort of take over the show, and we'll find out what your story is. We'll find out what's going on from you. And I'm looking forward to this section, to this little segment, because, you guys are the voice that makes this whole thing work here at Bucs Report. We're all about you. Everybody, brand new fans, longtime fans, we are all about you. So let's do this. Let's open this up. The question tonight is going to be, should the Buccaneers draft a running back? And what happens with Rojo? It's your turn. All right, guys, so I want to hear from you. The phone line is up there. Give us a call. And I'm also in the comment section. In the chat section here, guys. I'm about to drop the link, and you guys can come on in and give us your opinion. We've got somebody calling in right now. Matt Colson, Matt from Oklahoma, is calling in. Matt, can we hear you? No, we cannot, but we will in just a moment. We will hear you in a second, Matt. Sorry about that, brother. How you doing?
Got a little feedback there.
Matt?
And, yeah, a little echo from me and feedback.
All right. Matt, it's not you, brother. It's not you. It is me. I forgot to set that up before we came on the air because I was running around doing 20 things, and I'm sorry. So, Matt, let's do it. Let's do this through StreamYard tonight, and next time I'll have the phones up and working. So we'll do it that way. Matt, please come on through StreamYard. I just put the link up there. Let's bring in Stephen Glasker. Hey, Stephen, brother. How you doing, my friend?
Hey, what's going on, Rick? How you guys doing? What's up, BC?
Hey.
Doing great.
Okay, so talk to me. Tell me what you think about what I just brought up. Tell me, do you think the Bucs are going to draft a running back, and if so, what happens to Rojo?
I do not think the Bucs should draft a running back. I think what they have currently will suffice. I like Keyshawn Vaughn personally. He did some pretty cool things when he was in the game. Brady seemed to like him, especially after that one touchdown pass he threw to him, and he let him jump in his arms to give him a big bear hug. You guys, I'm much more partial to Fournette than I am Rojo. I just think that Fournette has more tools personally, and with the season, and you heard in his interview he's catching 100 passes a day on the jugs machine. Fournette. So
Rojo was catching 300 last year. That was supposed to be encouraging too.
That didn't work.
You saw how good that went. I mentioned
right.
Before the past. Some running backs have it and some don't. They just
well,
don't
the difference. And the difference that you make a good point, Steven, because the difference between Rojo and Leonard Fournette is before last season, he was coming off a 70-catch season. I mean, he had 70 receptions in one season. That's never been part of Rojo's game, and that's been part of the problem with that. If Leonard Fournette can get back to what he was doing in the playoffs, reeling those balls in, and back to what he looked like in the years prior, then I think you're pass catching back right there. Plus, Vaughn has pretty good hands as well. I think he might be in a good position, but I still think that if a running back falls to them and his best player available, clearly, I don't think they're gonna. It's the luxury of what Jason Light said the other day. They're able to take a project player. They're able to take the best player available. It doesn't really matter what position it is. They're looking for the long. Everyone wants to see what this guy's going to do in 2 games, and he said, we want to see what they can do in 2 years. And you look at the running back situation. Besides Keyshawn Vaughn, everyone's gone after next year, and I don't see them giving a bag to a guy like Ronald Jones at all.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. By the way, Mike DeRoche, thanks. There goes the Emmy, Rick. Yeah.
I understand what you're saying. And BC, I don't disagree necessarily, but I personally prefer to see a line, preferably D-line, because I saw how, just let's face it, kind of pedestrian they looked without Vita Vea when Vea was hurt.
Yep.
They struggle to generate any type of pass rush. So I would
Yeah.
prefer to go for some type of D lineman. I think that would be a money better spent or draft pick.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that's a great idea. Thank you, Steven. Thank you very much.
Thank God.
Have a good one.
Yeah,
All right, let's
D-line's
bring.
a good. Oh, sorry. I was
No,
gonna say I
it's
think D-line's a good spot to bring in, but
Yeah.
This draft class is really weak, so you got to be really selective with who
Yeah.
you bring in.
All right, it's your turn, buddy. It's your turn, Matt. And thank you for coming back this way. Sorry about the phone problems. How you doing, my friend?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. My bad. Tell me, what do you think about? What are the Bucs going to draft a running back? Should they? And what does that mean for Ronald Jones?
Well, I think I've told you I don't care too much for Ronald Jones. A lot of people do, but I don't look at him positively yet. I think he should go somewhere else. So we could, but you don't draft a running back in the first round. So you could get him in the second or third and find somebody that's functional. But
Well, not so much early in the first round you don't draft somebody, but later in the first round it's not so crazy.
But yeah, but the 32nd pick is the first second round pick, and we don't get hamstrung by salary issues for 5 years if the guy's a bust.
Can I bring up a point about that? I get a little annoyed when I hear the 32nd pick is the first pick of the second round. It's not. It's the last pick in the first round. Okay, nobody looks at the first pick of the second round and goes, "Well, it's the last pick of the first round." No, it's not.
But Rick, I'm talking about contractually.
It's right. No, that is why it's not the first pick of the second round. That's exactly why it's not the first pick of the second round. You get that 5th-year option. The 32nd pick is flat out the last pick of the first round, and lessening it isn't smart. Look, to be honest with you, I think I'd rather have the 32nd pick than the 20th pick.
Well,
I mean, it's more valuable. Teams are going to want to trade up more, as crazy as that sounds, because of the position you're in. So I don't know. I mean, it gives you more options. I'll put it that way.
Costs less too for teams moving up the second round.
Look at what we have available for running backs. I don't see a pressing need for that.
Yeah.
I think that we're better off to what we've talked about before: defensive line, depth, and offensive line depth.
The problem
and maybe
there,
a cornerback or a safety back there somewhere that can be added to the group.
Just
but I don't think that running back is where we need to concentrate. I really don't. Now, if you found a second tier quarterback that you could get, I think I'd take that before I'd get a running back, just because of the age of Brady and what we have when Blaine Gabbert comes in. And if Brady, God help us that it doesn't happen, if Brady gets hurt and has to be out, and then all we got is Blaine Gabbert, what happens when he goes down? You got.
Well, I mean, listen, Matt, no team. If you lose your first-string quarterback and your backup quarterback, what team do you think is out there that's got three? I mean,
I understand, but we're going.
The problem with the 32nd pick is
we've had this discussion. I look down the road 3 years. I think we need to have somebody in the stable that's going to be here, not a Ryan Griffin who's been here, who hasn't done anything but run.
Yeah, no, and that makes sense. The only thing I will say, and then I'm going to let you go, Matt,
Okay.
The only thing I'm going to say is this. Why do you have to have somebody in the stable now when there's going to be a free agent available, just like they did with Brady or whatever? You might pick up a Rodgers, you might pick somebody up later. So it's not that you have to have somebody in the stable now. Okay? There's always ways to get by. But we got somebody else coming in here, so I'm going to move on.
Good luck on the show, Rick. I like the format.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
And the thing I just want to say, too, is that pick 32, there's no one there as a quarterback that you're going to be taking unless there's some way, somehow Mac Jones falls. But then he'll be picked up by anybody else or Trey Lance falls. But that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And the best bet, if you want to take defensive line, offensive line, well, it's really, really, really deep this year. And you can get a solid player moving back from that pick 32 into the second round.
Yeah.
I think that's why there's so much focus on the running back position, because these running backs are real deal running backs. They're all workhorse, all, 3-down running backs, and that's why they're getting talked of, because it's a team of need. So far, I haven't heard anybody mention, and hopefully this next guy will do, what do they do with Rojo if they draft him?
Well, that's what I wanted to bring up, and that's why that's why the question I just asked. And when I said it's your turn, I wanted to hear it. But here's what I'm going to do, Joshua. I am going to move forward. So let me get you to tell everybody where they find you.
Absolutely. You guys can find me on Twitter at Joshua_C_Allen. I'm on there all the time, tweeting out stuff. I've got polls going. I've got obviously all the articles you can find on Bucs Report. You can also find me here on the Audible every Thursday at 8:30. Last week we had Javon Hagan. I'm working on bringing another player to you this week as well. Great guest. You can find me on the Locker Room app for iOS if you have that. Make sure you download that now, and make sure you guys check out the Bucs.
Tell them about the Locker Room app. Tell them about the Locker Room app.
Locker Room app is amazing. It's a new way to connect with people. For so long, technology has been, tweet me, text me, and all that stuff. Well, the Locker Room is bringing a new wave of audio-based conversations. Right now on the Locker Room app, if you would open it up, they're doing watch parties for certain games. They're having the Wolves versus Celtics watch party. They're doing a mic showdown, Tory Lanez versus T.Y. Dollarshine. They're talking about the Ducks, Anaheim Ducks thing. They're talking about Zach LaVine, Rangers versus Padres watch party. So there's different things that you can get in there and have conversation with fans that like the same sports as you, and not just sports, a multitude of different topics and ranges. And right now it's only for iOS users. The app and the Apple App Store is coming to Android soon, but definitely get on there, check it out. It's a great time, and it's nice to be able to finally have conversations, because I feel like the conversation's been such a lost art. Everyone's like, "Why are you calling me? Just text me." But now, just tweet me, slide me a DM. But this is a way to get conversation, and there's been powerful conversation, motivational rooms. They've got athletes on there, media personality on there, coming on, taking your questions, talking to you. So it's a great app. Make sure you definitely get on there. And Bucs Report will be hopefully combining our shows live there as well. And it will be a new audience we can connect with.
I think that's that's just a great way to go about this.
With from Spotify as well, so they're going to be blowing up, part of the Spotify family. But Rick, so far, love the show, love the direction that it's going in. Everyone in the comments, I want to thank you guys for tuning in as always, and I will talk to you soon, my man. Have a good night.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much, Joshua. Thanks for coming by.
Absolutely.
All right. All right, excellent. So let's go north of the border to Andrew Faubert. How you doing from North Sports Dynasty? How are you, my friend?
Not too bad, Rick. How are we doing tonight?
Doing excellent. Little hiccups, the things that come with a new show, little things that happen.
Snazzy.
Don't I?
You look snazzy. I wish I had a suit.
I wish I didn't. So here is, I've got a couple of things I'm going to talk to you about.
Of course.
Well, first of all, did you hear the question I just brought up? Do you think the Bucs are going to draft a running back? And if so, what's the future for Rojo with this team? I mean, that to me, I'm finding very interesting.
If Rojo was a household name at the running back position, I think, and of course Rojo is a household name, but I think if he was way more of a household name, like
is he? Yeah.
Or something like that back in the day, I think we would be more inclined to keep him. But I don't think we are after next year. I think this is kind of a go out there, prove what you can do for another team, show how much money you are worth to a different team, because the Buccaneers are probably going to get Vaughn going, or they're going to get another person in the third or fourth round like they stole Vaughn. So,
and does he get traded during the preseason? I mean, is he going to be on the team this year?
I do think so, only because...
You think he's going to get traded, or do you think he's going to be on the team?
I do think he's going to be on the team. Only
Okay.
Because they want to keep everybody. And even if that does mean keeping Rojo, I mean, when Rojo wasn't doing too good, they went to Fournette. And when Fournette wasn't doing the greatest, they went back to Rojo. So, I mean, as long as they have the 1-2 punch that they are comfortable with, I do think they are going to run with that. But after next year, I think that's where Vaughn maybe starts taking over, or one of these next guys that they draft will probably start taking over.
Okay. So your guess, do you think they're going to draft somebody? You think they're going to maybe try to pull somebody in the third, fourth round? I mean, what are they going to do at the beginning of the draft? What are they doing in the first?
My personal opinion has always been, at the beginning of the year, it was draft the best offensive lineman. But now that we have basically all of our starting five coming back, if there is one of the top 3 tackles that for some odd reason falls at 32, I think you just take it and go from there. I mean,
right.
The same thing with the O.J. Howard draft. I mean, we did not need OJ Howard, and not saying we still don't need OJ Howard, but it is nice to have that extra weapon available when you don't necessarily need it.
Right.
If one of these top talents isn't necessarily there at 32, I think the Buccaneers are going to allow some other team from the outside to come into the first round just so they can get a quarterback or someone that they want to develop into their system.
That makes total sense, I think. But as I've said, Jason Light is a wild card. And you know, it's funny, I could see him packaging several picks and moving up and then saying, all right, so we're only going to end up with 3 picks in this draft. We'll end up with a 1, 6, and 7, and we're going to trade our 2 and our 5, and we're going to move up, you know, and then we're going to trade our 3 and our 4 and get back into the third round. And then, you know, I mean, you just never know what he's about to do. I think it's funny. I mean, we're drafting for depth. That probably isn't the strongest draft. So if that's the case, you know, it's funny though, because if you historically look back at those drafts that were not very strong, you end up with a lot of good guys that come out of those drafts. So, and then like I was bringing up earlier, look at how many highly touted quarterbacks there have been that are no longer in the league. And look at how many guys that were not highly touted, Tom Brady, that are now starting, but he's not the only one. That's the thing, is it's not like he's rare. Like while he's rare, he is rare. It's not like he's rare. It's not like he's the only one that you know has been successful. Now maybe, I mean, he was drafted very low, but it seems funny to me that all of the years and years and years, 55 just of the NFL, and we still haven't figured out how to scout a quarterback. I think it's amazing.
I mean, go back to next year. I mean, I know I saw Johnny Dean in the comments there. Me and Johnny Dean have talked about some of the quarterbacks that did fall to the 5th, 6th, and 7th round, like a Cole McDonald, and I want to say I can't remember the other name of the quarterback that he liked. He'll probably tell me in the comments there. And they are being developed. I mean, Jacob Eason in Indianapolis, these guys, if, you know, God forbid an injury happens, they take the starting role, and all of a sudden you may have a, you know, not obviously a Tom Brady, but a Tom Brady type of situation where that backup comes in, and if he doesn't want to let go of the reins, as long as he plays to the caliber that he knows he can play to, then he'll keep it. So
yeah,
it'd be kind of nice if the Buccaneers, say in the 2nd or 3rd round, that, you know, a Jamie Newman at 64 or a Davis Mills was for some odd reason there. Maybe not Jamie Newman. I don't think he would fit our system. But if Davis Mills was available at the 2nd round at, say, number 64, and people are trying to trade in, I wouldn't even. I would. You know
what's funny is I always, when I'm talking to you, because of your knowledge and because of all, I want to like pinch in and zoom larger so I can see what you've got scribbled on the big board. It's just like this tease that you've got going there with this. It's like, oh man, come on.
See, the teams on the side is just little notes for me based off of the draft order, whereas everything else that you kind of see in here besides the NHL standings, that's just kind of for my show.
I was this close. I almost created a mock draft with names that weren't even real. I was gonna like make the first 4 picks that were real and then completely make up the rest of the draft. I mean, the rest of the first round, just people that don't even exist out of, you know, I mean, just talk about, oh yeah, he's an offensive tackle out of Utah, and just start talking about all these qualities that he has and just completely making the whole thing up and do an entire mock draft and see how many people actually noticed. And
I mean, some of these guys would come back and be like, you know, that kid from Tuscaloosa. We gotta get him.
We gotta get that tackle from Utah. I think he's amazing. And the guy doesn't exist. I mean that to me, I think I'm so tempted to do that. I mean, I was driving around today thinking about it and plotting it in my head, and then I thought, no, I'm not gonna do that.
And see, all these that you see right here, I've just been trying to go through all the players that signed with the different teams and see what their rankings have been. And, you know, you take not your own rankings, you take everybody else's rankings, kind of divide them, kind of see what everybody's thinking to give you a fluid answer. Start putting those numbers in there, and you start seeing which teams may have actually improved and which ones may not have, just based off of numbers. Once it comes to the actual helmet-to-helmet contact and the training camps and stuff like that, that's when you start really seeing if the chemistry which is the biggest thing that these guys are paid to know, if they actually can have that chemistry. Because, I mean,
Right.
look at the Bucs. Look at what our GM did. I mean, this is one of the greatest signings of all time because he assembled the team. He knew exactly what was needed. The only thing that was really needed, of course, was the sheriff.
Was it that he knew exactly what was needed, or did it? I mean, this is it. This is. It's kind of a funny question. Okay, now for anyone who knows me knows I am a huge Jason Light fan. All right, I think the guy's amazing. All right, I really think he's a great GM. I'm perfectly happy with the guy, but I want to pose something, and I want everybody. I'm probably going to make you guys all freak out and feel free to yell at me in the in the chat room. The pandemonium. Yeah, all the parrot army can cause pandemonium. Let the pandemonium of chat begin with what I'm about to say. But guys, here's the deal. There's a part of me that wonders if Jason Light is not the luckiest man walking the freaking planet. Because while he went out and signed Brady, the truth of the matter is it was no magic feat by them that got Brady. Brady chose them. Brady came to them. Brady fell in their lap. And once Brady fell in their lap, it was an avalanche. And I don't think it's like they had this plan in advance. Okay, they knew, okay, we're going to try and get Brady. Mm-hmm. I don't think they were like, we're going to try to get Brady and Fournette. And we're going to try to get. I mean, I don't think I don't think what happened was their plan. Okay, no. I think what happened was when they signed Brady, I'm certain there was a moment when those guys either looked at each other or looked at themselves in the mirror. You know what? I would put money on the fact that they looked at themselves in the mirror and said, "Holy crap, we got him."
Yep.
You know, and because I think it was look, I have plans. All right. My plans are the cute girl that's my waitress. I plan on meeting her and, dating her. And I plan on, right. That's a plan. Okay.
Yep.
Now we're back in reality here. Okay. So their plan worked, and I mean, it is half, I think, because floating around out there, Bruce Arians had I don't know what you call it, I think it was the owners meeting, or was it the combine or something, where he just threw it out there and said, well, plan A is Brady.
Yep.
And everybody was like, is that tampering? Is that, I'm not sure what that is. I don't know what just happened, but, I mean, he threw it out there, but I don't think you can call it tampering because, man, out of 26 teams, plan A is Tom Brady. I mean, so I don't think he was saying anything new, but when he said it, honestly, I think by that point, they already knew they had a shot, but that Brady hadn't made up his mind. And I think Brady, I don't know how much recruiting took place. I don't know how much I don't know if, I really think maybe as important, and this is kind of crazy to say, maybe as important as Bruce Arians or Jason Light. I think a huge part of this is Todd Bowles and that defense. I think Brady looked at that defense and said, yeah, I can do something here because I don't need to score 30 or 40 points a game. I'm not going to need to do that. And I think that's why he came. And I mean, when you look at what the Buccaneers put up in their first Super Bowl, they put up, I forgot, 48, 49, whatever. I don't remember what the final score was.
Let's say 45.
Okay, it was a bunch. Somebody put the final score of that first Super Bowl in the chat room. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, so they scored 45 points in the first Super Bowl. They now you ready? They only scored 31 this time. Okay. They allowed 9. That's why Tom Brady came. Okay?
Yep.
So I think Todd Bowles, what was it?
48-20.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was around there. So the thing is, guys, I think Todd Bowles played a huge part. Maybe not in flat out directly recruiting, but what he did with this team, I think Todd Bowles deserves a mountain of credit for Tom Brady coming to the Buccaneers. And I mean, I think that's the guy who just slips through the cracks and nobody really says much about him. And he doesn't get up on stage and say anything at the victory party. He doesn't anything. He just kind of stays off to the side. I don't know if he wants to be that way or if he just. But the thing is, this guy. Remember how we used to celebrate Monty Kiffin? We should be doing that with Todd Bowles.
No, I agree. And if you look at this as well, everyone talks about this being the greatest match made in heaven. This was because of what Brady did. Brady basically forced his hand and said, I want the opportunity to pick my destination. And props to the Buccaneers for keeping, props to Jason Light and props to Bruce Arians and props to all those guys, because it's very easy to get caught up in the media, and we've all seen it. I've been there for sure. People know that. You get caught up in the media and you get caught up in some of these, these media outlets and what they say and how they bullcrap their way through, and they make you feel these ways and they make your fan base start to feel this way. A year and a half ago, whether we like to admit it or not, we were one of the bottom 4, say, franchises out there, just based off of the wins and the games and stuff like that. We all know what it was like to watch the Giants come to our stadium and have a home game. That being said, the Buccaneers stuck to their guns and said, we are going to stay here. We are going to keep this Super Bowl relevant team. This is a team that they knew. Bruce Arians came out of retirement. When you have the right formula, all you need is to attract. And that's exactly what they did. If it wasn't for technically the Patriots as well, allowing Brady to have that freedom to explore, he would have never landed here. And once he landed the opportunity, once the Buccaneers even smelled, it was basically, and I'll even say it like this, it's me when I found out I had an opportunity to even have a date with my fiance that I have. I do not find myself to be that attractive of a guy. She's
I think you're a beautiful man. I'm just saying.
I appreciate that. And for me, when I knew she was coming over the first time, I'm scrambling, I'm cleaning, I'm everything, because it was like, I got one shot here. And that's kind of what the Buccaneers thought, even though they knew once they had him in the building, they would intrigue them. Same thing on my end. And look what you had. You got a Super Bowl. Now I got 2 kids. The second one is basically the second Super Bowl coming up here, ladies and gentlemen. The best thing that ever happened in this mutual thing is the same thing that we're seeing out there in the leagues now. Indianapolis left that quarterback position open for the chance that a Russell Wilson or a Deshaun Watson came there, because they know what they can do. They know what that roster is capable of doing. Same with the Washington football team. That defensive line is going to be scary the more and more that it develops, and teams are starting to realize it. So once a Russell Wilson or an Aaron Rodgers becomes available in a year or two, that's going to be the type of formulas that these other teams start to mimic with us. So these 6-10, 7-9, 8-8 teams, 8-9, 7-10, 6-11,
whatever it is now.
Yeah, those are the teams that you guys got to see next year that are going to start copying us. And whether it is the last 2 years of Aaron Rodgers, whether it's Russell Wilson for $150 million for 4 years, people are just going to do it. We started the formula. We started cooking it.
Well, it's not even something you can copy. I mean, everybody says it's a copycat league, and I just have to laugh at that, and I go, yeah, but this is genuinely impossible to copy.
So true.
I mean, it's impossible because there's one Tom Brady. I mean, I guess the only way you could copy it was get Brady from the Bucs. I mean, I guess that's kind of the only possible way, and that ain't happening. And I mean, you get the feeling he's happy here. And if he wins, another Super Bowl or 2 here, holy cow, man! I mean, that you talk about a legacy, but it's not just the legacy; it's then the myriad of. When and this is bizarre, folks. This is really crazy to think about, but it's been obvious for 2 decades. When you think of Tom Brady, you think of the Patriots. If he wins 2 more Super Bowls here, when you think Tom Brady, are you thinking Tampa? And that's crazy, to think that his entire legacy, the entire thought process or belief about him, the entire perception about him, the entire your initial gut reaction to what is Tom Brady, it could happen that people, their initial reaction is Buccaneer?
Yep.
That's insane.
My kids are going to grow up thinking Brady only played for the Buccaneers until they search it up on their phones. So it is insane to think that. I mean, Joe Montana, we still think is a 49er. We don't think of him as a Chief.
Right. You know? And that's my point, is that he literally can flip the script.
Yes,
because and what's funny is it's not just his on the field stuff. There are little things like probably one of the most memorable moments of Brady's career is the trophy toss.
Oh.
You know, as funny as that is, it's the truth, because before everything was so buttoned up and locked down that you had no image of him. And now you're getting images of him, and you're thinking about him on Instagram or whatever, and you're thinking about this Tom Brady giving out his phone number or cracking jokes and doing funny things and saying, oh, just a little too much avocado tequila, and it all spelled wrong. I mean, let me tell you something. What's amazing is if he faked that, it would be a marketing genius move. But the fact that it actually happened is insane. Is just insane. I'm going to bring somebody else in here real quick here. And let me give some props to this guy before we even get started, okay?
Yes.
All right. Listen, I love this guy. I do. I love his show. Before I was a part of Bucs Report, I watched this guy's show. And, I mean, I respect the heck out of this guy. He's somebody that he's old like me. We can talk old Bucs and in-depth old Bucs, and we can talk about the history of it and things. Ray, I want to thank you for being such a massive part of the podcast launch. And and I appreciate you in such a big, big way, and I want you to know I mean that. Thank you so much for coming on tonight and being a part of. Now we just launched the podcast. Now we're launching the Bucs Report Show. So thanks for coming on and be a part of this, brother.
I hope you guys appreciate that was the longest you'll ever see me on camera without talking. Andrew the big board. How you doing tonight, brother? And Rick, how you doing? Great show tonight.
As per usual, Ray, anytime that I'm on a show with you, and especially Rick, I am a happy Canadian. I'll be even more happy when I can be on the beach and in the Raymond James with you guys. So let me out of my house.
Oh, yes. And I apologize for my shot. It's kind of last minute here. I was enjoying the show. But you guys were talking about what? The draft. We were talking about the draft there for a minute, right?
Yeah, I wanted to, and Rojo, are they drafting a running back? Is Rojo going to be a part of this team? What do you think's about to happen with that?
I love the point Andrew made that if one of those top tackles falls to you at 32, you keep reinforcing the strength. For me, it always starts up front with the offense and defensive lines. But I mean, if ATN is there at number 32, obviously Jason Light and Bruce Arians and maybe even Tom Brady are going to have to run into an office somewhere and have a come to Jesus meeting and figure out if he goes that way. But really, at the end of the day, Rojo's just such a talented running back, and of course we're so fortunate to get Lenny back in the fold again. It's not a bad problem to have. I just think that I think there's only one running back on the board that if he's there, just because of his catching ability and the fact that he brings that dimension that Buccaneers running backs don't currently bring, that would be a Travis Etienne. But other than that, I think that we stick with the stable we have.
Yeah, listen. Ben Parrish said definitely going to buy a mug. Listen,
sure.
Yeah, let me tell you something. We've got the Bucs Report gear shop. It's bucsreportgear.shop, and you guys can go there, www.bucsreportgear.shop, and there's a mug, a coffee mug. First of all, Ray has the best gear, flat out. Although I will tell you this, the Parrot Army that we have here, the Parrot Army gear, we're gonna give you a run for your money. But your gear, You're like, even the shopping bag, the shirts. I don't know if you saw it today, but the bandana is out. The sleeveless tees are out. Yeah, and there's a dog dish coming because look right behind you there. There's a dog dish coming.
There you go. You can see her in the shot. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
But Rick, I'm going to be getting some of that parrot gear because we talked about this, not just the pandemonium, and I love it. I love the tie-in, the flock of. But the fact that we were talking last night, Harry the Greek and I, after we were on a show, and we're like, you go over to Raymond James Stadium, you get on that pirate ship, and you get over there, and of course, the cannons are firing, or you got the cheerleaders up there. But the most iconic thing is that talking parrot, and of course, we know that the Buccaneers had a parrot mascot for years and years, and he used to just bring it. So I'll definitely be getting some of that parrot gear, but definitely get in there, guys and girls, and check out some of that gear because it's some pretty fantastic stuff.
Yeah,
and
there's some good
I
stuff.
got my mug on the way.
Yeah, it's exciting. I am excited about all of it. I really, really am. And rumor has it, this is what I hear. Rumor has it, at some point or another, whether it's late at night or whether it's at a different point, rumor has it, somebody else on the screen is going to have their own show coming around. So from what I hear, that may be happening, in which case there would be some more gear showing up that's probably pretty badass. I can tell you.
In that case, I'm in for that too. If I can imagine how some of that gear is going to look and what that gear might be. But let me ask you guys something.
Snowshoes,
real quick.
Yeah.
But I have a card.
Yeah.
But seriously, guys, what happened with Teddy Bridgewater? This guy comes in for the Saints and Sean Payton and just the world out, goes 5-0 in replacement for, Drew Brees 2 years ago. Carolina goes all in on him. Matt Rule, the new coach there. He brings him in there. Why did they get so turned off to Teddy Bridgewater in just 1 year? Does anyone have that answer?
I don't know that they got turned off as much as it's you want your own guy. You want to reset the mentality. And I think Bridgewater came in. I'm not sure that he was their guy as much as he was a temporary plug-in, quick solution kind of he was a bridge water. But I think that's
over troubled water.
Right. Yeah. I think that's what he was. And I think what they did is look at it and say, yeah, he's all right, but we want something that's probably longer term, probably, and I may be crazy, but I am not off the Sam Darnold bandwagon yet. Now I can get there quick. I can get off that bandwagon quick. Okay, that won't take long. I mean, if he went, I believe, what is it? I mean, results speak for themselves. If he gets cut by this team, okay, I've had enough. I've seen enough. And let me tell you something. What I know about Teddy Bridgewater is this: he's not good enough for anybody to seem to want to keep him around.
That's crazy.
So I'll say, while he's a good quarterback and he's a serviceable quarterback, people don't seem to want to build a team around him. And I hear nothing about him. I mean, he's probably a great guy. But I never hear people saying, I don't want to disappoint Teddy. I've got to raise my game to play with Teddy. You hear nothing. It's like radio silence. The guy is invisible. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure if that plays into it, because you want somebody that people are going to rally around. And I don't know that he does that. I'm not sure. I mean, Ryan Fitzpatrick does that. I mean, players loved Fitzpatrick, and not just with the Bucs, but on other teams. The players just rave about this guy.
Well, Andrew, let me ask, if I can ask Andrew this.
Yes, sir.
And you too, Rick, if Teddy Bridgewater doesn't suffer just the most bad luck non-contact injury drill in Minnesota camp, 5 years ago?
Yeah. Yep.
I think if he'd have stayed there, and because the trajectory he was on coming out of Louisville, the stroke that this kid has on the ball, the good head on his shoulders, and Ricky, the reason why we don't hear a lot from him, because he's that kind of guy that doesn't run his mouth. He lets his play speak for himself. But I think Minnesota wins the division, the NFC North. I think they win it 2 or 3 out of the last 5 years. If Bridgewater doesn't, if things go different for him there, and that defense that they had, that Zimmer had in place there, and Teddy Bridgewater was on track to be, I think, one of the next top NFL quarterbacks.
Does that work, though, being a silent leader when you're the quarterback? Does that work?
Not usually, but when he played in Minnesota, And you guys kind of know my opinion that you could be, say, the worst quarterback of all time, but if you're on this team and for some odd reason you all just gel, you're going to get wins. And Bridgewater on that team with Minnesota, had he been there, say, completely healthy, past the 2017 season, because their 2017 season was really, really good, like best the franchise had ever had.
Right.
And had he just been consistent, because that's all that offense needed. They didn't need Christian Ponder doing those extra 8-yard runs and then fumbling the ball at the end of games and stuff like that. They didn't need for Brett Favre to be rolling out and try to pass it to Adrian Peterson on 3rd and 12 to go to the Super Bowl. They don't
Just
need
kill the
those.
clock. Sorry.
It's okay. They don't need those things to happen. If they would have kept Bridgewater, I think this team would have probably now started looking for maybe a replacement, because they would have seen that Bridgewater, they do need an upgrade to maybe get over that hump. But there's one thing that I think a lot of people are overseeing with the whole Bridgewater thing. He did come off that massive injury, but he did also have those 5 wins. But it was also in Sean Payton's system, guys. If I'm not saying that Bridgewater is a bad quarterback, I'm saying that he is a decent to good quarterback who played in one of the best.
Taysom Hill did well as a starting quarterback when it comes to record.
Jameis Winston threw a 54, I believe it's a 54-yard touchdown in the playoffs against his old team in one pass. The offense is the reason.
His best pass in a Buccaneers game in a very long time.
Yes, I just wanted to, had to add that in there somehow.
I'm sorry, Andrew. Go ahead.
No, go right ahead, Ray.
No, I was going to say is that, and you guys, after we get done watching the show tonight, don't leave the show yet, but guys and girls, do me a favor. Just go to YouTube, go to Google, look up Teddy Bridgewater's best highlights or highlight reel, either from at Louisville when he was definitely using his legs more, not so much he was a running quarterback. He's always had the stroke, but look up some of his best passes in Minnesota and the way this kid strokes the ball. Now, the irony is, or the full spectrum, come back or full circle back to the beginning is that Jameis goes to New Orleans to get Sean Payton's training. You have Teddy Bridgewater that spent 2 seasons there, went 5-0 and gets the contract. If Carolina, if that does go where he comes here for $1.5 million or what have you, and Carolina picks up the rest of that salary, that would have to be, obviously, from Teddy Bridgewater's camp standpoint, that chance to not only play in Bruce Arians' no risk it, no biscuit system, but to be behind Tom Brady for a year, and maybe that just by default, that leadership that you're talking about, Rick, that quietness, maybe that rubs off on him. A cat's not going to change his stripes overnight, but that could be something that would encourage him or make him want to come here.
Can you name another great quarterback, though, that was that kind of a cat, that was that kind of a just quiet, you never hear anything about him? Name another great quarterback that, I can barely tell you what his face looks like.
Well, the thing is, he's been running from his shadow for 5 years since he twists his knee in camp again in shorts. God. And basically, he really can't be out there even when he goes in for Sean under Drew Brees, a Hall of Famer, third the greatest GOAT, if you will. But when he goes in for Brees, it's not his team to take over. Of course, he plays that and plays with that leadership. But you're right, Rick. Therein lies maybe a question we all should be asking is, inherently in his history, is there that does he provide that type of leadership? Because that is something that, because of that vacuum that's going to be created one day when TB12 does decide to become head coach, but that vacuum that's going to be created in the leadership position from the quarterback position, you definitely want to make sure you've got someone going in there that probably is going to at least have a little bit of that.
Oh, just throw that grenade out there, why don't you?
I got in your head, didn't I, Ray? That's from last year. I got in your head a little bit.
What do you mean?
I said last year on the show before that I think one of the other major selling points, like for Brady's side, is he kind of realized what Peyton has with that greatness. Is he can walk into Indianapolis in, say 4 or 5 years if he really wants, after the GM has proven and moved on and stuff like that. If he wants to be a president of operations, even in Denver, he has 2 different things. Brady realized it's not going to necessarily kind of get that type of, say, sway, in somewhere like New England, just because of the way that it's run. But he can bring that mentality and the TB12 method down to Florida, which he already kind of has. And he doesn't need to
Not kind of. What do you mean kind of has?
It's there, I know. And now he can become a president. He can become a, if he does want to be a coach. But I do think he would want to be more of like a president of.
See, I think the opposite. I think he's that competitive drive, that almost manic need to win is. I see him being more on the field. I mean,
fair.
Yeah.
And see, that's the thing is, I just say more of president of operations because with say the Mannings, right? The Mannings have always been you play and then you can kind of go into that office role. Whereas these other quarterbacks and these other good to fair to even great quarterbacks and other players, they all go to different types of roles. So it's just hard to pinpoint exactly where he would go, and even to say how far the Glazers would let him go. Even maybe he becomes a part.
Well, I mean, Johnny Dean, the professor, has brought up several times about how Bruce Arians loves to take former players and develop them into coaches, and how this is the perfect place. And Johnny has made the comment multiple times about him moving to a coaching role, Brady moving to a coaching role. And I just see him going into broadcasting just because he's that guy that looks at the camera and smiles and you see ping, the little, the off his teeth, it's the perfect. I mean, I can just see that. But the thing about him is this, and this is what's funny about Tom Brady. Whatever the heck he does, he's going to be the best at.
Oh, yeah. And he stands on his brand alone. I mean, I'm across the street from Publix here. I'm over here at the Seminole City Center, and he's got that large. It's not on the end cap of the row, but it's right there in grain. He's got top-notch real estate there in Publix, and he does in all the Publix around here. He's got that TB12 stand. And of course, I just honestly think that although we realize he's never going to get the football out of his blood, again, his first love, just, loves it. He's addicted to it. He's got the fever. But the thing is, I think that when he does walk away, I think there's going to be at least a separation time that he has made it very clear that he wants to be a large part of his three children, their lives, and then be there for Giselle. And we've made the point that Giselle can still do her hustle while Tom does his hustle, and they've got the best family, environment there. But I think he's going to want to spend more time with the kids. And I don't think coaching or even broadcasting to some degree is going to allow them to do that, because of course even broadcasting during the week, they're on the road. They get on the road, for whatever game you're on the road for 3 or 4 days of the week too. So I don't see him doing that, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, because that guy, whatever he chooses to do, he'll be the best at it. I mean, I think we know that. Yeah.
What if he just decides not to leave because he doesn't want any single man or woman to ever reach the amount of rings that he wants?
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to happen anyway, as it is, Andrew.
Yeah.
I think if the way that the evolution of football continues down the road, and I think if they really just leave, and I don't want them to do this, I really don't, but if they really do just let the offense do whatever the heck it wants, and they kind of just say the defense is on the field eventually in like 20 or 30 years, which I kind of see it do happening, then I do think you could have a mobile quarterback such as Lamar come in who could actually throw, and I think that would be the way to go, because then it just takes one man off of the quarterback and then it becomes almost unbeatable. So, but that's 20 or 30 years down the road, of course.
Yeah. Guys, I want to talk about one more thing here on the show, and that's Alex Kappa, of all things. I know that's let's go there.
Left field.
Well,
I'm kidding.
Alex Kappa earned the highest performance bonus in the NFL this year because of basically playing in all the games and his value on the field. And I think that's something. I think he deserves recognition, because he's a guy that's he gets lost in the shuffle, and he's a name, but he's kind of a peripheral name. And the fact that he's achieved, that he's done what he's done, and he got the highest performance bonus, which I think is like $650,000 or something like that. And the cool thing about it, and this is awesome, it doesn't count against the cap. I think that's kind of a cool deal. By the way, Andrew, I'm going to move forward. Johnny is here, and I'm going to go ahead and clear the spot. All right, for Johnny. All right, man. Tell everybody where to find you.
North Sports Dynasty going live tomorrow at 11 a.m. Mountain Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Time for you East Coast folks. And as you heard Rick say there earlier, the little tease, something might be brewing from the north here. So stay tuned for that. And you can find me at North Sports Dynasty across all the social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. And if you want to follow me, it's at Andrew_Faubert on Twitter. Thank you for having me as per usual.
Awesome.
Hey,
You
Rick,
are awesome, my
Can I
friend.
say one thing to Andrew?
Yeah,
real quick?
yeah, please.
Rick already hit on it earlier in the show here, Andrew. I want to dig into that big board. I want to get some of that knowledge. So you figure out a way to get it to us. And if you could share it on Bucs Report, then we love it even more, obviously.
Yeah.
But I want to dig into it with you and get some of your insights on the upcoming draft, because we've got some of the best draft analysts here at Bucs Report.
Yeah, we do.
I'm loving what I'm
guys
learning
do.
this year. But Andrew, great to talk to you tonight, brother.
Always a pleasure, gentlemen. Thank you for having me. And ladies and gentlemen, Johnny Dean is a-coming.
All right, let's bring him in. Let's bring him in right now. Let's bring Johnny Dean. How you doing, Mr. Professor?
How you doing, guys?
Good, man. How are you?
Hey, Johnny.
Great show tonight, Rick. This is
Yeah.
fantastic. I love this platform.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm excited about it. I mean, we've had our little hiccups, and it has been anything but perfect. What you guys don't realize, and I'll go ahead and just tell this story. During the beginning of the show, I had the phone all plugged in correctly, and I dropped the phone. This is when Joshua was here, and it literally rolled, like it came disconnected, rolled across the room, and I put Joshua full screen and ran from my chair across the room around the desk, got the phone, plugged it back in, and something has come unplugged. So that's the truth of what happened and why we were getting that feedback and why all of that mess happened.
It's supposed to be a mic drop, not a phone drop, man.
Yeah, well, oops.
Hey, Rick, I apologize. They're pressure washing over here, so I don't want to. If it gets noisy, let me know, guys. But can I work it back to that point you were making about Alex Kappa?
Yeah, please.
And Johnny, I'm wondering what you're thinking about this too. Is that you get a
Well,
quarterback?
I wanted to respond to the Brady thing, but go ahead. Yeah, I'll get to that after you, Ray.
Oh yeah, okay, and then we'll do that. But real quick, so you get a quarterback that pre-reads that defense, pre-snap reads that defense, and gets rid of the ball on average 1 to 2.5 seconds faster than any other quarterback that we've had in a long time here. You get Tristan Wirfs on his right. You got Ryan Jensen on his left. You got Donovan. You get all this stuff working together. And again, I know that we do this ad nauseum talking about dropping and getting that Super Bowl 55, but one of the most beautiful things about the way this Buccaneers squad is working and why having a 22 back is so important is because the uniqueness and historical factor is the way that everyone is working together so cohesively.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I love the cohesiveness of the team. It's a team. It's a real team.
Yeah, it's all you see. You can almost visibly see gears turning together. It really is.
Especially after the bye week.
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to take away from what you made about Alex Kappa because that cat was phenomenal.
No, we'll get back to that. We'll get back to that.
Yeah,
Kappa is phenomenal. He's ranked in the top 5, man. So.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. Johnny, go ahead and make your point you wanted to make about Brady with, I think it was Brady with coaching. Yeah. Go ahead.
I just didn't pull that out of thin air. I mean, I've listened to Brady and I've watched Brady and I know the connection with Arians and teaching and I know his coaching tree. And Brady said in the same conversation that Ray was talking about family and stuff, he also said that he don't play football for himself, for anything to prove anymore. He's playing football for the young kids on the team to try to teach them his way of thinking and the way to approach the game. And does that not scream coaching to you? When Bruce Arians said Brady could win these games sitting on a golf cart, he wasn't lying, dude. Rick, you're muted. You're muted, Rick.
Okay, Brady's drive is what I think is so amazing. His drive and hunger, and I mean it's this. There's something about him where he can't settle. I mean, he's got to push for success, and I think that's what. I mean that's what makes him tick. He's almost manic about it.
Yeah, well, he knows he's getting at that age where he's going to have to think future, and if you take a string and put Brady in the middle of it and put all the what's the word I'm looking for? All the people, places, and circumstances surrounding him and why he's here, and you can tie them all to that. You can make a very strong case that the guy doesn't want to leave football after he's done playing.
Well, Johnny, I think hey, we're after 10 o'clock, so I can say this. I think he would be the most kick-ass quarterback coach in the history of quarterback coaches. I think that he may even want to dabble with the offensive coordinator position, or maybe that's not. Maybe he just wants to be developing young guys. And
I could see OC, because I think he's a culture builder and a culture changer.
He's not a head coach. Tom Brady, I love him.
Not right now. No, he's not. He would. I could see him starting out as an OC though, because there's not OC in the league that knows as much as him already.
Right.
I don't think Tom has the demeanor. I think that he's that guy. He's the real cool cat at the party, and he's the GOAT. But
I don't know. On the field, he's got it. On the field, he's got it.
With that team, when it comes, you say demeanor. There's nobody with a better demeanor for it.
Right.
He works with those people fantastically.
Well, that's the thing is, when you see him yelling at the coaches on the sideline about what he wants, and you see him, I mean, he's already partly in the role. I don't even know that it's a big leap. I think it's almost like, okay, I'm going to change clothes and stop throwing the ball, but everything else is the same.
Well, here's the thing for me. See, he's got that beautiful house in Tampa. They got the new $3 million boat that he likes to throw Lombardi trophies from. The kids are growing up real fast. If living here in Tampa Bay, but being a quarterback's coach or a quality assistant, but basically a kick-butt quarterback coach and an offensive, advisor. But if that gets him to the church on time, but still lets him have the time with his family, and he's enjoying the life here, and he's got access to New York and California where his parents are, if that's what does it for him, then wouldn't that just be the most phenomenal thing?
Right. He's got as much time with his family, more time with his family than you do.
Oh, I know he does.
Yeah.
Okay. So a lot of people like to make issues about the time with the family, but they have family time. He goes all over the world with his kids.
Well, and let me say something. There are a lot of traveling sales people who spend a lot less time with their families, and it's
not just the time with the family. It's my oldest son's football on Thursday night that I can't go to that game because I'm committed.
But isn't that what traveling salesmen deal with all the time? And isn't that what
they do?
That's what I dealt with as a heavy equipment operator all the time.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to lessen it. Yeah, I'm not trying to lessen that. That's important stuff. But I also wonder whether or not, okay, I can't go to your football game on Thursday night, but enjoy your room in the mansion. I mean, I don't know.
No. I got 3 kids, and it kills me. I was coaching all their teams, and I haven't been able to recently because I've been hustling. But no, you can't make up for the first JV start or the first varsity start or the letter jacket or his baby's daughter. So, and what I'm saying, I get what you're saying, and we're kind of keeping it light. But what I'm saying is there are specific things that now, if he can get on that Lear jet and be there in 2 hours.
Well, that's part of what I'm saying is aren't okay. So he's not at practice at night. He can catch those games. There are things. Yeah, everybody has certain sacrifices for their job. Okay, right. Everybody has certain ones. But this guy, if he needs to be somewhere and he tells the Bucs, "I need to be there," what are they going to say? No.
Yeah, he's not sacrificing family, dude. He's not, and you got to balance that proposition out with the fact that every football player out there has a football addiction. They don't want to leave. They don't want to quit the game. They don't want to stop. But Brady's addiction to it is as different from them as he is a quarterback from the rest.
And do you see the pictures of him with his family in Brazil and with, they're all over the place? Oh, yeah. This is not a guy struggling for family time. It's just not.
No, but I got pictures of my family and me all last year, 2 weeks or a month in Carolina, but I didn't make my son's soccer game Saturday because I had to work at UPS. I don't get that back. So even though we still have the Brazilian pictures or the jumping off waterfalls in Hawaii, my point is that just from the spiritual standpoint, guys, and I could be completely off base here. I'm not saying I can't see him doing something that allows him to, because your head coach and offensive coordinator can't be Learjetting around the country.
Well, he doesn't get everything. Events. Yes, you're correct. He wouldn't be able to catch everything.
Right.
He wouldn't be able to. But my point was, really, he's doing pretty darn good for his family, and he's getting to spend an awful lot of time with his family, and he's getting to. Yeah, I don't know. But you know what? Who's for me to judge? For me to say, yeah, he's got plenty of time, maybe not enough for him. I don't know.
The thing. If I know anything about Tom Brady, and we're best friends, I see him every day. Giselle, even though Giselle admits his first love, his addiction, and again the fever for the football, and he admits that Tom does over the top, and he's been fanatical about the pursuit of the greatness that he has. I think that he has gotten to a place spiritually where it's not going to be a 7. He doesn't want a 7-day-a-week football job. He doesn't want to be that. Not especially for at least a few years after he does retire. But I still think that it could work out. Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know that he doesn't want it. I think he does want it. I mean, that's everything I see about him is that's what he wants. That's what he's driven for. And yeah.
I agree, Rick.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, guys, I want to thank both of you. Oh, let's do this. Let's touch on Alex Kappa real quick because I once again he's getting shuffled away, and I don't want to do that because this cat deserves it. Johnny, talk about Alex Kappa. You just said he's like top 5. What do you mean by that? Talk about it.
I'd have to look up the stat, but right off the top of my head.
Your point. I mean, your point being
he's top 5, and he keeps his quarterback clean. Okay, he's not. You don't hear his name called, do you?
Ever.
And that's because he don't make mistakes.
You never hear about him. And one other really cool thing about him is he's always in the game.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even when he's injured, this last injury took him out, and I guarantee you, if it hadn't have been the injury that he had, it wouldn't have taken him out. The guy played with a broken arm, for Christ's sake.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the kind of guy that he is. So I think Alex Kappa doesn't get the props he deserves, and he gets somewhat lost in the shuffle. And one thing that I would love to see Ray write about is what this team is going to face in the future when it comes to who do you recognize and honor, and who do how do you deal with this? Because I mean, what are you going to just ignore linemen? Because holy cow, man! I mean, there needs and you know how the Bucs put the whole statue thing together in their office about the first Super Bowl victory. Yeah. They have to do something. So I'm interested to see what's coming, guys. I'm interested to see what's coming.
Hey, I said next to you guys, Johnny, you and I have talked about this. I went out on, I don't say on a limb, but I said COVID-19, 2020, everything was great, but there was some weird stuff. Pro Bowl balloting, I didn't like the way it went. I didn't like the vote. I thought some of our players got shited. But I think we see possibility, not starters, but maybe a backup, 2 Buccaneer offensive linemen on next year's Pro Bowl squad. I'm just, the way this team works so cohesively and what they're going to be able to do when they start the wheels, start the season with wheels up already. Yeah. Phenomenal to hold it over the season. I think we're going to see them really shine again in 2021.
That's interesting. I mean, I don't even know what to expect. They're so good. I don't even know what to expect. I'm afraid to expect, but I'm getting over that, and that's brand new. Yeah. I mean, the fear is going away, and that's brand new. I mean, it's freaking me out a little bit.
I like the depth. I like the staff. I like the foundation that they've set for the future. It's not just been about building for one Super Bowl here. It's been about building for the future here. And Jason Light, thank you very much, sir. I love that. And the fact that we have a cohesive plan, and even when Arians is gone, I'm sure Arians will still be in touch if he's not in the front office somehow. And
well, I don't know. He lives in Georgia. He lives in Georgia and loves it there. Yeah. So I don't know. I get the feeling when Arians goes, he's gone.
Here's the beauty is I don't see the Glazer family changing their ways. They're not going to suddenly become, they basically give Jason Light a blank checkbook, and they basically let him make all these moves, and they trusted the process, and they trusted him and the way he did it. And the fortunate thing is, even as Arians, or we get down the road and everything, this Glazer family and the phenomenal job they've done as owners, I don't see them changing their ways, which just means that what the biggest thing for us in the last 12 months, and we've continued the next 12 months, is that we took 14 years and we got rid of it real quick, and we made a cultural shift in less than a year to the top. And now we can have fun, continuing to develop moving forward.
But there was a lot of failure. Let's not just look at it and act like, okay, yeah, the Glazers, yeah, they changed everything quickly.
They made a deal with the devil when they took.
It wasn't that quick.
Well, they brought Gruden in here. They gave up 2 1s, 2 2s, $8 million, and then they let him. And I'm not putting John.
But that was different ownership. Hold on, that was different ownership.
No, the Glaciers owned the team when John Gruden.
That was Daddy. Okay, so that was different ownership. That was different people running the team, and that's. I mean, I'm not trying to lessen it. I'm just trying to be realistic about it and go. I don't know. I don't want to.
As much as I love Malcolm, his biggest mistake was allowing John Gruden to come in there and bully Rich McKay out of the building.
But Johnny, the guy you just gave up again 2 1s, 2 2s, the $8 million, and he just put a Lombardi, your first in team history, right? And you guys, I'm not saying this guy expecting to disagree with me, but that's what I mean when I say they made a deal with the devil. You had Tony Dungy and a perfectly built team that was strong in character and strong in performance, but they just couldn't get over that top. They didn't have that edge, right? That offense didn't have that what they have now in spades.
What were you saying? First in team history. What did you just say was first in team history?
Did I say it?
Yes.
The first Lombardi. Well, they brought in John Gruden, and he just wins them a trophy.
Oh, you're talking then. Yeah, okay. I misunderstood what you were saying.
You don't think when they call up Al Davis and make the deal for John Gruden, you don't think they were already thinking at that point, well, this is going to screw up our relationship with Rich McKay, the guy who drafted 2 Hall of Famers in '95 and was a ball boy when he was 17. And
he was a part of that.
He wasn't their first choice. Bill Parcells was their first choice, and he left them at the altar, and they had to go make a desperate move somewhere.
Yeah.
Did they?
Yeah. They went after Parcells first. Parcells left them there, and then they came in.
But you guys are shifting the point. My point is, though, they didn't plan when they brought John Gruden in here. They brought him in to have that offense, and he did it. Got us to the mountaintop. Yeah. But they didn't plan that 12 months later, Rich McKay would be president of the Falcons or GM of the Falcons. And that was a big mistake, right? Because John Gruden, Bruce Allen, and then down the line, that's where all the mistakes were made. And that
I agree.
It wasn't Malcolm's fault because I think they were still, as an ownership family, they were still
Malcolm
young
had to sign off on that because you don't change the GM. The ownership changes the GM.
Well, Johnny, but the thing is that, again, the guy wins him a Lombardi. So what are you going to say? Today we've announced we're firing John Gruden.
Well, I would have fought back against that because Rich McKay is the one that built the team. Rich McKay is the one who put John Gruden in that place. I would definitely have fought back on him.
Yeah, it's all about culture. They let culture go.
By the way, Christopher Cole, just to give Christopher Cole, hold on here. Christopher Cole just said, breaking news, Joe Musgrove just threw a no-hitter for the first no-hitter in Padres history. So props to that guy.
Wow. That's going to be a big statement, I guess.
Yep, props to that guy. Hey, I want to do this real quick before we sign off. I want to say this just to Ray. You can get a little nervous about the gear, and you may be getting some heat here with somebody coming up with gear just as good as yours, because let me show you this for the Parrot Army.
See, that's what I told you, Rick. I love that.
That's pretty cool. It says Bucs Report Show just below where it says Parrot Army, and there's another little golf shirt like that. So that's kind of.
I really like that golf shirt. That's sweet.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about this, guys. I want to thank both of you for being here. Let me go ahead and get first of all, Ray, tell everybody where to find you.
Oh, just all over the place.
That's the truth to that,
brother. Great job. Good Friday night. I'm pumped. Now I'm gonna get out of here because they're pressure washing. But thanks for having me on, Johnny. As always, it's a pleasure talking to you, brother.
Later, Ray.
Thank you, Ray.
Fellas. Thank you, Rick. Have a great evening.
You too. All right, Johnny, we're gonna wrap this up. And will you be around tomorrow night with the miscreants, with the merry band of miscreants? And
wouldn't miss it, brother. Wouldn't miss it.
All right, we will get. I'm sure it'll be back off the rails. So thank you for coming by tonight, Johnny.
The rails, man.
Yeah, well, it's a. I like the mix. I like both.
All right, talk to you later.
Have a good one. All right, guys. Thank you for tonight. Thank you for hanging in through my little technical glitches and such. Here we go on the first night of this show, and it's been a treat. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a challenge, and it's been a good time. And let me tell you something, Miscreant Strong. You guys brought it. Thank you to all of the miscreants there in the chat who really brought it tonight. I appreciate that. Welcome to the Parrot Army. Teresa, thank you for coming. Mike, brother, you were on fire tonight. Mike DeRoche, thank you. David Surlis, thank you. All of you guys, thank you. This is a new show that's going to be here Monday nights and Friday nights at 9 o'clock. And I want you to know I love you guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you for giving me a shot. Understand this show will get better. And please be a part of it, because you guys are what makes this whole thing tick. Thank you for being here. To all of you, thank you for your comments. I want to get you guys more involved in the future when it comes to it's your turn. I want to hear from you guys, so get yourself involved. Thanks to Matt for calling in during that time period, and thanks to Stephen Glasker for calling in during that time period. I will see both of you guys and the rest of you making comments tomorrow night at 8:30 right here on Bucs Report for What's Cooking in the South. Thank you for being here. Have a great night.